Alrighty, yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SoraLifeStory, and we back with another one. Yes, I repeat, another one. We got another video for you guys. So I'm gonna just hop straight into it and get straight to the talk, man. Today we talking Xbox, cause we talking Xbox because I'm a Xbot, or so they say. But really, I consider myself the PlayStation, the Sony pony. But anyways, man, I want to talk about Xbox, and the first part I want to talk about is just as you can see, I got some Starfield going in the background, but Starfield got some news today, man. It's getting a nice little update. Okay. Adding is doing a bunch of different things. I'm not gonna regurgitate any information that you go and find yourself, but you know what they're saying. So they're updating the maps, updating a few other things. But one of the biggest things is the Series X is getting a patch with a performance mode. I don't have a Series X. I have a Series S. I will wholeheartedly tell you more than anyone, I am the lowest common denominator. Whatever you, to me, I'm going to be completely honest. Whatever you throw on the Series S for me, put it on there. If it runs at 30, cool. If it runs at 60, cool. If it could somehow get 120 FPS, cool. But being on the Series S, I understand that it is the lowest common denominator this generation. And with that being said, I don't, I'm really surprised at what the console can do. And being on it and having had it for over about 2 years now, or two to 3 years now, I haven't had a Series S. I really personally just feel and think that it is a great system. And the fact that it can even run these games, because for me, that's what I got from the advertising of the Series S. We can talk about the false advertisement of both these systems, which I will get to because it's not even just on Xbox. I'll speak on the PlayStation side as well. But the advertising, man, for both these systems was something. But the way that I took it for the Series S was just as simple as you will be able to play these current gen games on this system. That's it. Yes, there is stuff in the advertisement, but everything that it does say up to. It says up to 1440p, 60 to 100, can up to 120 FPS, stuff like that. All of that. It says up to that. That's not something that is guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? And if you took that as a guarantee, you must not have been console gaming for a while, because console gaming has always they've always found a way to finagle and use wordplay and advertising to make the things sound greater than they are. And that's just the truth. That's just how it is. I'm sorry. But it's been around since Sega and the Super Nintendo, since the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, with blast processing. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I won't say the Super FX chip, only because at least with that, there was like an actual hardware inside of those cartridges that did allow it to do like some rudimentary 3D. But it wasn't like this revolutionary. It was at the time. It definitely was at the time. But like looking back on it, you're like, oh, like that was kinda 3D, but not like the craziest thing. Um, Ever since the N64 with the silicon graphics and all of that, like these things have always kind of been a thing of where they market them just enough to say, hey, it can do this, but real world performance wise, it's not going to do that. PS3 and 360, the PS3 with the cell processor that was overall at the end of the day really kind of even more limited by its RAM situation more than anything. Um so many systems when you really start to think about it, man. The PS2 with the emotion engine, uh the original Xbox, which in some games technically it could do HD, but there's not a lot of high definition Xbox games. There's not a lot of 720p original Xbox games, but there are a few. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's something that was kind of like pushed and said, hey, you could do it, but it's not something are modding nowadays. Are modding original Xboxes to put HDMI on them to kind of get that better output, but it's not something that is like guaranteed, and that doesn't mean all of the games are gonna look amazingly crisp or anything. You know, it's only gonna go as high as 720p, if that. Um, Man, even the last generation with the PS4 and the Xbox One, not the mid gens, not the Pro and the Xbox One S, but those first iterations, the base models, they claim to do a lot. And when they were first released, we were getting third party games already at sub native resolutions. Battlefield 4 was coming out at 900p and at 720p on the Xbox One. So you can't tell me as a console gamer that all of this stuff is just brand new to you, especially when consoles are no longer really what consoles used to be, and they haven't been that for a whole generation and a half now, because this generation is almost 4 years in, and 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to be another 3 to 4 years of this generation. So for a generation and a half we have been using straight up PC architecture. um CPU and GPU is in a whole board. It's an APU, accelerated processing unit. Is they're all literally PCs. Um, and you got guys finally starting to understand and hear that. So that's good, but that's just what it is, man. That's what they've been for the better part of what, 10, almost 15 years now. Even with the PS3 and the 360, those are a little different because they were using a different architecture. They were using a RISC architecture, which was from IBM processors and all that. So while they weren't x86, they had their own architecture, and that's why on those systems you could still start games just by putting a disc in and all of that. It was not required to install them. Once we went x86 with last gen, we were pretty much in PC territory. We have to install our games through the disc and all of that. Um, and besides the custom OSs, they're PCs. They just are, and that's what we're continuing with here, and that's what we're gonna continue with until consoles end, which I think will probably be the next generation. I think the next generation will be the last generation of the traditional console. And I do not want to be right about that. But judging by where we're going, that's just what it looks like. But let me get back to the point of this video. Xbox is in both a good and a bad spot right now. I really can't even say a bad spot. I'll just say Xbox is in a good spot. We're talking about them porting some of their games to other platforms, PlayStation and Nintendo. And the only ones that see that as a problem are console fanboys. That's the Xbox. Xbox guys, the Xbox. That's you guys. Guys, they've been putting their games on PC since last gen. And the Xbox console has reached its peak because of the other console fanboys. See, I got y'all, bro. I got y'all. But look, y'all aren't doing any better. But the Xbox console is at a place where it's kind of peaking because of the other console fanboys. Because the thing is, the neutral gamers, we're going to go buy Xbox. That's why the Xbox Series is not too far behind from the PS5 like the Xbox One was behind the PS4. And the thing is like I'm in a place where I'm kind of over it. Phil gave us hope. It's kind of falling through a little bit, but I'm at peace with it because their strategy kind of makes sense. And one, I'm at peace with it because they're actually doing what people told them to do. They told them to drop exclusive games. And Microsoft is dropping exclusive games. The issue is console fanboys, the Sony console fanboys. And that's just because they're loud. I could say the Nintendo guys too, but that's just because the Sony guys are so loud about Xbox and making so many Xbox videos. Um they're not gonna buy an Xbox. So the Xbox sales are stagnating because the people don't want to buy an Xbox. And the people that are casuals that only play on one system anyway, they're not going to have 2, 3 consoles like a guy like me would. And I consider myself a casual now, which is crazy. I consider myself a casual gamer now. But these guys are not going to go buy an Xbox. The Xbox guys are too busy crying and whining about every single thing, but not supporting their platform. And also, you know, where it's in a place where, okay, if there's growth and stagnation in this brand, you got to branch out. And I don't see a problem with that because what Microsoft is just gonna do is just take over everything slowly. See, they're putting these games on the Sony platform, and people are pre-ordering them and buying them, playing them. Hi-Fi Rush and all this stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment. Not Pentiment. Even though I think Pentiment is a good game, I haven't played it, but I've heard good stuff about it from people online. But I don't think that people want Xbox to grow. I want Xbox to grow so that there's competition. So that there's competition for PlayStation. So that there's competition for Nintendo. Because when there is competition for PlayStation and Nintendo, that's where they do their best. And I prefer the Japanese systems, but I also love the Xbox too. Because since Xbox is the underdog right now, I feel like they're fulfilling to my gaming needs. They got a lot of different genres. Game Pass is good. And I still buy games on my Xbox. I got a lot of games that are more than just Game Pass. And I love the backwards compatibility. But just the fact that so many people don't want to see the brand succeed, and they'll tell you they do. They don't. Just the fact that so many people don't want to see the brand succeed, I like the fact that there is options and that they're making options and they're doing it because they're also making money from it. So I'll also say this about the games because there's a lot of outrage about these games. Hellblade 2, Starfield now here. Starfield is getting a 60 FPS update for the Xbox Series X. That should be a bravo, right? But no, now it's another thing because it's like it should have been there from the beginning. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. But when this update drops, we can no longer say it's a 30 FPS game. That can no longer be an argument against it. That is what I'm talking about. That is what I mean. Because then the goalpost is going to change. It's going to be, well, it's still midfield. It might be mid to you. But you can no longer use the argument of it's not 60 FPS. Even guys that have transitioned from Xbox to PC, and you know who you are. Why are you mad about that? You were heard. And that is why it's good to be vocal. And that's why I said I agree. The game should have had a performance mode from the jump. But they could have just abandoned the game. But they didn't. And see, that's where I give just a little crumb to Microsoft, because what I can say is that they won't accept failure. They will make their money some way, somehow. And if that means releasing Halo or Gears of War or Starfield one day or something on another system, they'll do it. And I know the Xbox fans will be hurt, but you're part of the problem too. So, yeah, that might happen, but we don't know yet. And the reality of it is, all the consoles will eventually go away. And we'll all be on PC anyway. So, what I really have made all this to say is that play your games. Buy games. Play Game Pass. Just play your games. Because you guys don't talk about games. The Xbox don't. The PlayStation guys don't. The Nintendo guys do, but it's kind of weird, man. But I got a Nintendo video coming. I do. Because I do want to talk about the Switch again. I'm going to talk about all of these consoles again, actually. I'm going to talk about my experience with all of these consoles in future videos. But I did want to talk about, some of these other topics, because all of it is just a mess. People don't want to see Xbox succeed. Microsoft will succeed. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. $3 trillion company now. Microsoft will be fine. But Xbox has been doing all this stuff to make sure that gaming sticks with us. And for whatever reason, nobody likes it. And I get it. Like, when it comes to consoles, that's what it's all about. That's the same thing for me. I like exclusives. But we're just in an era where all the platform holders, besides Nintendo, they're releasing games other places. Sony's not going to put any games on Xbox. I'm going to just tell y'all that now. Sony's not. But they're on PC. And when we're all on PC, we're going to have all these games there anyway. So what really changes? But I've ranted long enough. And there will be more videos to make. And there will be more rants to do. So this is SoraLifeStory. I hope my thoughts weren't too all over the place. I'm just working on this video format, really figuring out all my thoughts and just putting it together. I got notes and everything, but just, really formulating all this. I don't go on a script. Don't need to. But I say that all to say, have a great day. Be blessed. God bless you. And play games, man. Play games. SoraLifeStory. Peace.